Let's cover like another part of interviews, especially for people like you who have changed your field of study. In your case,
Mhm.
it was psychology to now business, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that you met, or rather, I think it's the minority of people who actually studied business for their bachelor's and now are pursuing like an MBA after that, right? Now, a lot of people would usually switch fields and all that. So when I'm sure this comes up somewhere during the interview where they're asking, okay, why business, or why are you choosing to study this? Why are you choosing to switch fields and all that? So what do you say? What is like a good template for an answer that you say in defense, not really in defense, but a good reason as to why you're switching, for example, and what are some things that you should completely avoid saying when they're asking you that question? So let's start off with like a good thing to say in defense, or like a good template of an answer.
Okay. So a good thing to say in defense. So, for example, I didn't want to pursue psychology any further because I felt like it was a very heavy stream, which will require a lot of my emotional capacity, and as a person, probably won't be able to do that.
Hmm.
So, I very outrightly said this in my interview that I won't be able to pursue that, and I want to get into a place where I can work with. I know I'm great with people, and I know that that's the area that I want to work in. I want to work in terms of understanding people, in terms of using those results to create something bigger.
Hmm.
And that's something that psychology wasn't allowing me to do. And I mean, it's a very heavy field, which will take a lot of energy and time from you.
Hmm.
So that's something I could not pursue for myself. And that's exactly what I said in the interview. I told them out loud that I felt like that wasn't the right place. And I figured out in the first year and a half that I won't be able to pursue psychology as a field fully. And which is why the shift in my choice of subjects from there turned into, say, an OB subject or an HRM subject, even within the field of psychology. So they saw me in my marks card shift gears from one side to the other, from
Hmm.
clinical into like a business psychology sort of mix. And I mean, for anybody who's changed their streams, I would just say try and let them know your real reason, because there's a friend of mine who did literature and he shifted into an MBA.
Hmm.
And in his interview, they pushed him and pushed him and pushed him to say, "Tell us the truth. You've come here for the money.
Oh
You
wow.
have, haven't you?" And they just kept pushing him further and further. He's like, "No, I took literature because I felt like it would be a good path to come here. I mean, you're going to teach me all of the things that you've taught me and that people learn in a BBA anyway, right?
Hmm.
So why should I do a BBA and come here and learn the same thing? I'll just do something more interesting, take a detour, and then get here.
Hmm. Hmm.
Follow my passion, probably explore if that is for me." And
Hmm.
that's a fine enough answer to say. You
Okay.
were trying to understand whether it is something that would fit you. Um, and if it's not compatible, it's not compatible. Then you're moving here. But
Hmm.
you have to justify why you think this is the more compatible thing. What if you get an MBA and you just don't utilize it in the best possible way?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're just trying to say if you have a consistency within the reason why you changed. And
Hmm.
that's okay to say whatever the reason is.
Hmm.
To defend why you changed it, I mean, of course, I always tell everyone to tell the real reason why they changed it.
Hmm.
But if the real reason is actually to get money or to get a good placement,
I was gonna come to that next. Yeah.
yes, don't say that. Mention why. It's why do you think you'd be a better fit for an MBA rather?
Hmm.
Answer that question for yourself, not why you want to do an MBA. Everybody wants to do an MBA because it's going to get them the best placements or a lot of money in the future, or probably open doors for them in the future.
Hmm.
But mention why do you think this knowledge, acquiring this knowledge, is going to be good for you?
Hmm.
So I think that is going to help you frame the answer a little better than I want to get money at the
Yeah.
end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's they want to see what it means with respect to you as a person also, right? Like
Yeah,
money and the college and the prestige, that's common for everyone. Like you don't have to say that as a reason, that sort of comes by doing this. But for you individually, to who you are as a unique individual, why does this make sense, or why did you want to take it up? And any sort of
exactly.
any reason is fine, but it should just be personal. and it should not sound personal. It should be personal. Like, I don't think you can make a dishonest story about that. But yeah, just try and find a good answer, I guess, about with your personality in mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's essentially what they're looking for. I
Hmm.
mean, why do you think this degree, this knowledge is going to help you at the end of the day?
Hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of people who come here and say that they want to start their own startup,
Hmm.
and which is again entirely against what a lot of people think that an MBA is for, right? Money, the jobs, the companies.
Yeah.
They say they want to start their own business, and that is also an okay enough thing to say because you're getting the knowledge at the end of the day. You're not getting just the brand name. You
Correct.
are spending 2 years here getting that knowledge,
Hmm.
and it there's this very common saying: the A in IIM Ahmedabad stands for academics,
Hmm.
the IIM-A, the A stands for academics, and you are spending all your time studying. So I guess the knowledge is the more important aspect that they're trying to give off here. So
Hmm. Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. How about things that you shouldn't say at all? And I'll also ask in cases where, let's say, someone forget this reason and their let's talk about why they did a particular bachelor's degree, right? And I'm sure being in India and with engineering the most prevalent thing, the answer to 70% of people who come to this interview is probably that they didn't know well enough back then, and it just sort of ended up in engineering. Or for that matter, other degrees also. So I'm sure there are people with that story. Is this a good enough answer? Is this a fine thing to say where you can just be like, you know what, I was stupid back then. I did engineering, but I realized it's not for me. And okay, and this is just one example, but beyond that as well, what are some other things that you absolutely should not mention? I think you covered money, you covered like prestige and all that, but are there other things also that you shouldn't say as a reason for switching your fields? For your
Tim. So there's this really nice US show called Gilmore Girls. It's a little old,
Mm.
um, but over there are these. There's one episode where all of these kids are gunning for Ivy League colleges in US, and a few interviewers come from Harvard and they're sitting on a panel in a school and they're giving a lecture. And they say they're trying to avoid looking for the people who've got posters of that college and have been dreaming for that place for many, many years. They're trying to avoid the fanatics and they're
Mm.
trying to get the people who are more real about wanting to do this, who
Mm.
are the most practically inclined to want to do this.
Mm.
So I guess it's a very strange thing to say because I mean, people who've thought about this degree for their entire lives
Yeah.
are ideally the kinds of people that you want to take, right?
Mm.
But they're looking for the people who have realistically dreamed about this, and not just had like fantasy like dreams about it, right? That is the kind of people that they're trying to sift through these questions. So they're trying to see if you have thought through why you want to go into Ahmedabad, right? It's not just a dream for you.
Mm.
So to say that there are good jobs, there is a good pay, it's a very uh, fantasy world like dream
Mm.
to or a thing to say that I am just going here for the brand name. What are you practically going to take back is the difference between someone who's um spent their entire life chasing this as a possibility and someone who's actually made it here. So I think just saying some things like okay, uh I'm just coming here because it's the best place to be, that's fine to say. But why is it the best place to be? Why do you think it's the best place for you to be? Because there's so many places with comparable packages. There's places with comparable companies. But why do you want to come here? Like,
Mm.
what is the difference between this college? Is it just because it comes on the top of the list in the rankings?
Mm.
That's the only thing they're trying to sort here. So if you think that you can't justify anything you've said, you want to say, I'm coming here for the packages, go ahead, say, I'm coming here for the companies that come in. Say it, that's okay. But how is that going to personally help you, and how are you not going to find it anywhere else?
Mm.
So there's a bunch of people who say that I'm coming here for the companies, and that's okay. But what are those companies that are coming just here? And why do you want to go to those companies specifically? and why is it that you can't use any other path to get there? So if
Mm.
you're able to explain that entire reasoning, that's when it makes sense. So they want you to have that clarity of that thought for you to be able to say that this is why you want to come here. So anything that you can't justify, don't say it. Very simply,
Mm.
because you know you're fibbing inside. If you really, really mean something, you'll be able to justify it with a proper line of thought.
Mm.